Hey, hope you're having a great day. So, today we're going to be talking about my 10 books for 2025. Look, I tried to do the 24 for 24 last year and it just didn't work out. I think I read like three of them, and it just like TBRs don't work for me. I am a huge mood reader, and so I narrowed it down to 10 this year. So, we're going to see if we achieve it, but I'm really excited for a lot of these books. And so, let's get right into it. The first book is Daydream. This is by Hannah Grace. So this is in the series of, I think, Maple Hills, I believe is what it's called. So it's got Icebreaker in it, and then Wildfire. I didn't really love Icebreaker, but I really, really enjoyed Wildfire. It's one of my top books last year. So I'm really, really excited to be reading Daydream. It kind of follows along the story. It's an interconnected standalone. It's a college romance. And I think this one is like a bookish girl, of course, with a hockey player. And so I'm really excited. Nothing, I don't know if it's necessarily going to be a 5-star read for me, but I'm really excited to try out because I really, really enjoyed Wildfire. That one was a 5-star read for me last year, so hopefully we'll see. Next is The Inadequate Heir. So this is part of the Bridge Kingdom series. So it's all duologies in this book. So the first one was The Bridge Kingdom, and I really, really enjoyed that book. I really, really liked it. So this is, again, it's in the same world, but it's about different characters, and so I'm super excited to try this out. And I didn't even realize, I know there's the second duology of The Inadequate Heir, and then now there's a third duology coming out in the series. Like, I had no idea. I'm so excited to hear about this, but I need to first read The Inadequate Heir. And this is a duology again in the series. I'm really excited for it. It seems fun. It's got really good reviews, and it's just something that's kind of been on my TBR that I just didn't end up getting to last year, so I'm super excited to go for it. Next is Never Finished by David Goggins. So this, I read his first book, Can't Hurt Me, and I'm not gonna lie, and I know this is cliche, but it changed my life last year. It changed my life last year. It really gave me such a different perspective of, you don't need anybody. You have yourself to motivate you and get you through. You have to push yourself if you really want it. And it's just, it something about his book just clicked for me, and I really feel like this is going to be the book, specifically the second book in kind of the series, is what really is just going to get me to that next level of where I want to go. I'm really, really excited for it. So David Goggins, he's a former Navy SEAL. He was like one of the former elite in the Navy SEALs. He was a top teal operator. He's an ultra marathon runner. He's got a couple of Guinness World Records. Like, this dude is crazy, crazy mad. Huge athletics. But I really like how he puts into perspective, there's nothing special about him. It's just he knows how to push himself to that next level. And I'm really interested to read this book, and I think it's going to be really, really fun. Deep End by Allie Hazelwood. So Allie Hazelwood is one of those auto read authors for me. I really enjoy almost all her books. I really enjoyed the last book I read of hers, which was Bride. So this one, I believe, is about two swimmers. Of course, it's some type of romance in there. I don't think it's anything to do with STEM. No, really, she like rates like STEM romances, women in STEM and stuff like that. But this one, I don't know, something about it. It comes out this year and it just looks so good. I love Ella Hazelwood. I love her writing. So this one was obviously just something that's going to be on the top of my TBR once I get to it. Under Lock and Key, Lena Ferguson. So again, this is another auto like read author for me. Lena Ferguson, I've read her other 2 or 3 books that she's got out, and I have really enjoyed them. Like, they're quick, they're easy, they're standalones, and they're so fun. So this is one, I think she's having some like issues. She ends up going to Scotland and ends up kind of having this little bit of romance, there's a little bit of mystery going on, and it just seems to hit right. I don't know what it is about her writing style, but it's so great. They're fun, they're quick, they've got a little bit of spice in it, not so overly much that it's so sultry, but I really, really am looking forward to this book, and this definitely should be on your TBR as well. The Spell Shop. So I think it was really popular last year. I tried to read it, but then my it didn't work in Libby. And like, sometimes I love the Libby app, sometimes I really don't. You really just, you got to be in the right mood. So it should be like, I'm such a mood reader. If I'm not in the mood for it, I'm gonna push it off, and I just didn't end up reading it in autumn time. So I just feel like that's like the perfect autumn read. So from what happens in the storyline is, this is like a magical world, and she is a librarian, and something happens. The whole town and library is like getting burned down, and so she ends up stealing all these magical books and then like runs away like back to where she like grew up, and she hasn't been back in like years and years and years, and she's not supposed to have like access to any of these magical books, so she's like hiding them, and so she's trying to figure out life as it is like in this small town where she grew up again, and then also like how she like is able to still use these magic books, but like not have anybody know, because of course, like, she's hiding them. She's not supposed to have them. It's like against the law. So I think it's supposed to be like a cozy fantasy read, and I'm just really interested to read it. It's something that I want to read last year, but I just didn't end up getting to it. So this is just something I'm going to tack on for this year. Next is The Secret History. To be completely honest, I know nothing about this book, because something about this book just intrigues me. I think it's more of like a dark academia vibe. I'm pretty sure it's been out since like the 90s. So this is like a really interesting, I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. It's the cover for me. And just something about it, like, in my gut is telling me, like, you need to read this. Like, I don't know what it is about it, but it's just saying, like, Cheyenne, read this. It wants you to be read. So I'm like, okay. I have it on Kindle. I ended up getting it for like 99 cents in like one of the Kindle Day buys or something like that. So I don't know. If you've read it before, let me know how you feel about it. But something about this is just so intriguing. So I'm interested to get to read it this year. Next is Saint. So this is technically the prequel to Fable and Namesake, and I really enjoyed Fable and Namesake. That series has something, that duology is just has a really special place in my heart, because I had started reading it, and that was like the first book series that I got back into reading. And that was just something that it would always have a special place in my heart. And I really, really loved it. And I'd love to read the sequel, Saint, because I think it would give me a better view of like why, because Saint is the dad and like of Fable. So it's just like I'm interested to see like why he became the way he did. Like, of course it kind of explains it in Fable and Namesake, but I'm just interested to see like how he got to that point and like his story. So I'm really, really interested to see it. It is a pirate romance kind of vibe. It's YA. I'm not gonna say it's super high stakes, but it's got a little bit of stakes in it. Good fantasy. It's got a little bit of a shock factor in it within Fable Namesake, and I really, really enjoyed the first duology. So this prequel, I just have good vibes from it. I'm really having good hopes from it. So once I read Saint, I'm definitely gonna go back and read um, Fable and Namesake again, because I love those books. So we're gonna see. Hopefully, it turns out okay. Empire of the Vampire. So this has been in my TBR for a while. I've heard good and bad things about it, but there's something that, of course, I'm of the Twilight era. Vampires and werewolves are just my thing. They just are. Anything with vampires, especially, I love, love, love. So I know this is about a story of I think he's a vampire who is a vampire hunter, but it's in his own restoring. So I know it kind of goes back in time because he's like imprisoned or something, and he's like telling a story to somebody. So I'm interested to see how it works out. I don't know how I'm gonna feel about the going back and forth time, as long as it's done right. Sometimes it's just not done well, but I think it's gonna be done really, really well. And I'm really excited to read this. It just seems right. Of course, vampires, it's been on my TBR for a long time, and I know it's just something that I know I'm gonna read this year. So that's something that I'm just gonna include this year. Next is Not Another Love Song by Julie Soto. So I had read her first book, which was Forget Me Not, and I really enjoyed that book. Like, it wasn't necessarily a 5-star read for me, but I really, really enjoyed it. It was something kind of a quirky mix that I've never really read before. And this one is they're both like, I think one's a violinist, another is a cellist, so they're both like in an orchestra, and they're just kind of rivals, but they're like they work together. And I don't know, something about this is just so intriguing. I really liked the first book. It was a fun romance. There's not a whole lot of spice in it, but it has like just enough to like keep you satisfied. You know what I mean? Like just a little splash in there. It's not like a huge splash, but just a little drizzle to keep you going with the romance lovers. And I'm really interested to see how this book comes out. So that's it. Those are my 10 books on my 2025 TBR. Let me know if any of these are on your TBR. Let me know what your TBR is for 2025, and I will see you on the next one. Have a great rest of your day.